My name is Fatima. My group members, Maggie and Chen, and I will be identifying and discussing what the extent of having a part-time job while studying full-time at university can be beneficial or detrimental to a business student's academic grade/performance. This is what you guys are going to be expecting during our presentation. We're going to be discussing our research questions, literature reviews that we used, questionnaires, our quantitative analysis from our questionnaire results, our qualitative analysis, and conclusion. Our first research question is: students who work are more likely to have lower grades/performance than students who do not work. Our second research question is: will the university satisfaction among students vary significantly depending on working hours? Why have you chosen these research questions? The factors influencing our choice of research questions to investigate are of our values, phenomenon of interest, and the knowledge gap of the topic. As a researcher, I strongly believe that committing towards researching and exposing the topic at hand further can be useful to students. Many students do not have an understanding and awareness that having a part-time job while at university full-time can either have a positive or negative impact on a student's career in the future. This topic came off as a huge interest to me and my group because we have never experienced university and work life together. Me personally, I've never worked while at university, but I've always believed that working part-time will affect my performance at university alongside other things. Carrying out an investigation on the topic will allow me to clarify my uncertainties and beliefs of having a part-time job while studying at university is either beneficial or detrimental to a student's career in the future. Even though it's not being put into practice, it will still give me some sort of idea of what to expect and what researchers have come up with, as well as investigating students who have been in this position's experiences. We have found 3 literature reviews that have been helpful in helping us understand the context and the background of our research better. The first literature review is by Tassima, Reddy and Estani, 2014. The journal article examines the effects of the number of working hours on university students' satisfaction and grades. They carried out an investigation on working and non-working university students. Students were categorized into 5 groups depending on the number of hours they carried out their part-time job a week. The findings they gathered from the research they conducted is that the average satisfaction and grades of those students who did not have a part-time job were found to be slightly higher than those who had a part-time job. The second literature review is by Curtis and Shani, 2002. The article investigated the effects of term-time paid work on undergraduate students. Curtis and Shani carried out 2 studies. The first study established the extent of students taking on paid work during term time and the impact it had on their studies and how they would like to be academically supported. The second study addressed students' preferred method of supporting, specifically seeking to establish guidelines about optimal methods. Results from the studies showed that over 2/3 of students thought that their studies had been negatively affected by their paid job, whilst over half of students reported that their physical health had been affected, with just under a half describing mental health issues associated with working while studying. Our last literature review is by Duns and Marks, 2007. The article is called Balance Work and Academic in College. Why do students work 10 to 19 hours per week? Excel. The purpose of the journal article is to investigate how off-campus employment affects undergraduates and to what extent its impact varies by the hours students are working. They carried out a survey, and the survey results showed that the academic performance of students who work between 10 to 9 hours are considered to be more superior to students who work more than 19 hours per week and those students without unemployment. Duns and Marks believed that this was due to the optimal balance between students' working and university life, which established structure and discipline. This journal gave us a better understanding of the topic we chose, as well as helping us to form questions we asked in our questionnaires and ensured that we asked all the right questions that would be useful later on during our research. So what we did was we used this literature review as a framework of our research, as it has already been tested by other people. We decided to open up ourselves in discovering new ways of what the research means. For example, carrying out our own questionnaires. We have designed a questionnaire that consists of 15 questions that relate to our research question. The main features of our questionnaire is that it consists of a variety of open-end, closed, and multiple choice questions. Another feature of our questionnaire is that it was well designed and well layered. All the questions that we asked made sense and had a flow and were easy to read and understand. We also had no leading questions. This allowed students to answer questions freely as possible. We carried out 20 questionnaires. Seeing as there was only 3 people in our group, two people conducted 7 questionnaires and 1 person did 6. We conducted our questionnaires on the Greenwich campus and asked both students who have part-time jobs and students without part-time jobs to fill out the questionnaires. This is what our questionnaire looked like.
Quantitative analysis is a business of financial analysis technique that seeks to understand behaviors by using complex mathematics and statistical modeling, measurement, and research. For our research, based on the feedback from our respondents, there are 18% of them have a part-time job at present. The majority of the reasons for them to have a part-time job is gaining the working experience, skills, and knowledge. Besides those, to earn extra money, gain social communication experience are also mentioned by those students. Especially, there is one student said that the part-time jobs could help him to find the personal interesting, so that can make him have a more clear predictions about the future career. And also, we have considered the balances between studying and working hours. Majority of the students spend more time on study, and a lot of them have a good balances on both working and studying time. This also meets the expectation from our group that the student would consider study is more important than having a part-time job while they are taking a full-time studying in the university. This table shows that no student have a part-time job is stressed from their work, but lots of the students are under a pressure while they are taking the course in the university. Relatively, some students think have a part-time jobs could affect their academic performance. This might because the time conflict between part-time job and the studying hours. And also, the students who have a part-time jobs might under the pressures from the working conditions and the study environment. Thus, it could make students have a lower motivations on their studying. And then we use pie charts to illustrate the satisfaction for students with their this year's university grades. Actually, almost half of them from our respondents think they could improve more with their grades, which means that they are not satisfied with their grades. It is interesting for the reasons why those students think it could influence their grades. There's no one think that the part-time jobs could influence their grades. The main reason is because no attending the lectures or the tutorial. Therefore, students who have the more motivations on the studying it seems to have a much better performance than others. For our opening question, we asked the respondent, do you think that it is essential for students to have a part-time job while studying at university full-time? 55% of our respondents think it is important to have a part-time job while they are attending a full-time university studying, and they gave the reasons why they think it is important. As aforementioned, students could become more independent and managing their money more effective, and also students could not depend on the student finance and the money from the parent. They have the abilities to gain extra money. On the other hand, some people would say it is not important to have a part-time job. One of the reasons is that students might experience stress with a difficult time-consuming project. From my personal view, I do not think students who are in the university have to find a part-time job because it's not a part of our course and we should concentrate on the subject we are taking. And we could get experience, skills, knowledge through other ways.
Major factor in determining the positive or negative effects of employment on the academic performance of students is their GPA. One would conclude that because time and energy are finite resource, job would detract from studying and be harmful to a student's GPA. Most studying conclude that this is only the case when the student's number of hours working per week exceeds 20 hours. In fact, students who work fewer than 15 to 20 hours often report higher GPAs than those who do not work at all. The National Center for Educational Statistics, which is run by the U.S. Department of Education, found that students working 1 to 50 hours weekly have a significantly higher GPA than both students working 60 or more hours and the students who don't work at all. Many resources conclude that working has little or not effect on GPA, following an in-depth study of topic, including the Journal of Human Resource. Sherman, in 1987, stated, "We do not find any strong evidence that hours of work during the academic year in the range that students worked significantly reduced grade point averages." Again, give that time and energy are finite resources, or may assume that in order for a student's GPA to not be negatively affected, time and graduation would have to be increased. Sherman in 1987 agreed with this. They conclude that this is caused by the presumption that students will need to reduce the number of credit hours they carry each term in order to make time for employment. Working more than 20 hours a week off campus contributes to a high likelihood that students will drop out of school before receiving a degree. Full-time workers are 10% less likely to eventually receive a degree than part-time workers, or those who do not work at all. However, working 20 hours or less per week on campus do not seem to have an effect on dropout rates compared to non-workers. In fact, Austin concludes that having a part-time on-campus job strongly increases the student's chance of finishing college. Conclusion: Although working a long time can be detrimental to students' academic success. Working a moderate number of hours often correlates with high GPA. This job helps students be more effective and organized, and provide important skills. On-campus jobs often lead to great intentions into university and provide applicable work experience. Students should be very serious consider the number of working hours, as the line at working become detrimental is embarrassed. Overworking may lower GPA and increase time to graduation and job outreach. This is our reference. Thank you.